It was very time consuming, staying up late at night, trying to get it done, especially in the last minute.
I think the experience for me was quite positive in terms of the overall competition. The sportsmanship was good. In terms of my team, they backed us a lot, me and Sean as drivers, and we really got to perform to our best ability, I'd like to say, in terms of going against other box carts. And the other teams, I think they had the same thing going for them, which is a overall plus for the whole competition.
As for my experience, I would mirror the same remarks he has. I also found I had a lot of fun actually. That's one of the most fun things I did for that year. It was really good. I had no problems. We got food. The competition itself ran pretty smoothly after everything got going. The actual racing was fun. I had my teammates supporting me, and they even had little activities on the side. Even though I got a little bit distracted, it was pretty good.
21-6. The fastest man out in CIC when it's on time is the Box Lunch Killas with a 7.858. 7.858.
You could have tell it was the first time for the competition, but despite that, it still ran pretty well. So me personally, when I had box cart in mind, it was imagining a bit of a longer course. How they kind of had it in their kind of drag racing style. It was fun, but at the same time, a decent bit of the fun I had in the day was just taking the cart and just going around the course itself. That was also pretty fun. So I don't know if you'll have to later, but maybe for the next competition, if you could find a bit of a longer venue, just to stretch it out a little bit, not too long, but yeah.
A dynamic course. Adding to this, as Sean said, we had a lot of fun going around the oval downhill, because we got to use steering and we got to really test our brakes. Now, the braking at the bottom of the drag strip, it was useful in terms of stopping so your team could pull you into the pits, but you weren't actually using brakes, where you had to push the limits of the brakes. You really had to show that the drivers had to put in their skill. It's really just using gravity and seeing how well built the cart is compared to each other. So it's a test versus drivers and the build of the cart. Now, in terms of a dynamic course, that's not only showing the build of the cart and how maneuverable it is, the braking system, the steering system, but you're also going to be testing driver's skill, which I think would be a very beneficial thing for the competition.
So basically, when it came to the parts used for the cart, it was kind of an iterative design. Well, of course, it started with the shopping cart, and that's how it's going to work, right? So then you're going to need steering, the seats, and stuff like that. So our first thing was sourcing the seats, where we asked Junior, our assistant, to manage to get the seat for us. I used seats, so recycling. We got the steering rack itself online, and so basically just ended up with the cart, the seat, and the steering. Then after, we read through the regulations, and we saw that, we needed 16-inch tires. And because we didn't know exactly how the course was, we decided to put larger tires in the back, the 16 inches in the back, for stability reasons. Just in case a rough surface like how it is here, the larger tires make it easier for the car to roll. But we still have these smaller tires in front, so you get less resistance overall, make it slightly lighter, and a bit more controllable, right? The knuckles themselves were custom made because we had the steering rack and the carts, and as we started with the frame, we saw how everything was going together and then decided to make the knuckles. And we had the knuckles. So once we had the full front assembly, then we decided to move on to the back. Firstly, we positioned the cart on the frame itself. Then we placed the forks where the wheels are sitting inside, because when we were looking at brakes, ideally we would have preferred to use disc brakes like some of the competitors, but we couldn't source those in time, and we found that V brakes would have been strong and relatively simple to put together, so we ended up with the forks. So then we end up, because of how the forks were sitting, aside from the chassis, we used the double connection, as you would see on the cart, just to give it a bit more rigidity. But even with all these welding and connections, the cart still has a fair amount of spring, which comes in handy as we hit in different bumps, especially at the transition from the bottom of the ramp to the thing. That spring on the cart helps keep the cart grounded and make the ride a lot more comfortable.
Well, in terms of my career paths, it's a bit eccentric compared to what I usually get involved in. I'm going into medicine, so I will be doing a lot of shadowing. I will be doing volunteering in hospitals, and in terms of competitions, I will try to get involved in whatever I can once it has to do with my school, and I think that we could really make a name for Trinidad in terms of competitions and science and shit.
Alright, as for me, my takeaway from the competition was mainly the team building part of it. The activities on the day is fun and survive. I was working towards being a pilot, right? So that whole working as a team part is just the experience I wanted to take away from it. Working with Sam, putting the car together, racing on the day, getting everything where it needs to be. All that is just experience that I'm hoping to take forward into the world of work. I've been talking to a lot of people, people saw like when I posted about the competition, I was like, they asking that if it was even going on. So I think to just spread the word about the competition, because I know a lot of people, a lot of schools who would like to compete, and I think just having a larger playing field would make it a much more competitive as well. Because when you notice on the day how you had a few strong starts, a few strong cards, and a few weak cards, I think just having it just be really good for the competition to just get more people involved, and that would be part of that to be actually advertising with the actual.
Yeah, to add what Sean said, I think that a lot of colleges should get involved because it uplifts the colleges. It pushes more mass media into the actual competition aspect, the Box Cart, the Intercol competitions, the clubs in the schools internally as well. It boosts the clubs. It will allow for more students to flood in and get involved in extracurricular and stuff outside of school, where it will be beneficial to not only them, but it will be beneficial to the country in terms of development. We get to develop our youths to be involved, and the main thing for youths these days is to be involved. It's the number one takeaway when it comes to your portfolio, when it comes to applying for colleges, when it comes to just having a resume. You need to have a lot of things on your belt, and I think that the Box Cart competition, the Intercol, really showed that we have a lot of promising youths out there that could really, put together something that would really work and compete with each other in a very sportsman way. And I think that there was no animosity, there was no negativity in that competition. It was all positive. Everybody was laughing, everybody was having fun with the carts, everybody was showing each other around, and I think it was a really, really, really fruitful competition. I think that if we can do better, and when we do better, it will really bring about a new light in terms of the competitions in Trinidad.
So basically, we were given a problem, and out of that problem, we made a solution, right? And with the solution, we kept in mind we wanted to use sustainable materials and stuff. So hence being a shopping cart, which is a recyclable material, because they didn't have use for it anymore. So we recycled it, and other stuff like other materials you could see was recycled. Yeah,
the experience was a really interesting one. It's where we took our creativity and converted it into a physical way. We use engineering concepts, concepts of IT and problem solving concepts, and we showed our best in the process, and we came up with this great result where our skills showed. So yeah.
So during all the whole process, we had to cut some bars and thing, and boy, going in the sun and using that saw and cutting was pain. It really wasn't fun. But like the only thing we probably didn't really account for was the shopping cart having a lot of holes on there for full brunt of like the drag going onto the driver and so on. So yeah, I mean, it was many challenges just going through the whole thing, and things we didn't account for, the time crunch. We didn't get exactly a lot of time to do any experimentation. Like when we was on the track already, that was the first time we actually had a driver go along with it, and we just were happy that it worked. So,
We faced a lot of challenges and stuff, yeah. Like as Ford said, we didn't get time to test it as well. Like the first run was the actual event, and we was hoping that it would play out to be good. In the making of it though, we use metal and stuff, so like we learn how to weld, and we did a lot of cutting, and we had to do a lot of tweaks, so that was kind of hard for us, but we learn as we go. So it was our first time too, so first time participating in this, so that's why it was kind of hard for us. And the time crunch, like to do all the research together with the building of the actual cart, the time was really short, so it was like a rush, but we managed to get everything in order, and yeah, we made a good product, I could say.
another thing was the tension for the brakes. That was real pain, like tweaking that over and over again just to make sure it was strong enough, but not like we use basically bicycle brakes, so we had times where we tensioned it and it was on the wheel itself, so it was stopping the wheel from moving. So if you remember, I don't know if you remember, when it was up on the ramp, we had actually had to make sure that it wasn't on the wheel itself to prevent the wheel from moving. So that was another problem we had to go through.
Even though we had plenty tweaks, like last minute tweaks, troubleshooting, even though it was stressful a bit, I find our strength came out in that because we overcame those things. And I remember a time we were deciding if to use a ratchet strap as a seat belt, right, for the safety issues. We didn't have to really do that, but even though we had those tweaks and troubleshooting, it was a real good experience, and our skills and perseverance showed.
Yeah, so I mainly worked on the portfolio, and it was very time consuming, staying up late at night trying to get it done, especially in the last minute. We put 1 or 2 sketches in there, trying to get that from friends and things to help us out with that. And the portfolio preferably should have been more of a plan to what we were building, and any tweaks we made along that plan, we would have made tweaks to the portfolio as well. It didn't necessarily go like that. It was more like we were building and then we would make the portfolio. So it was trying to remember everything we did, adding things that we did, adding any tweaks that we did, and some tweaks we didn't get to mention, and yeah, we probably made up some things, not gonna lie.
I didn't have much to do in any portfolio, but what I heard was that we actually, in the planning process of the design, we had like a friend who knew different 3D modeling softwares and stuff, and he was actually going to do a whole render of the project, but due to time constraints and stuff, he didn't actually get to do it. But we did like freehand sketches, we tried to use AutoCAD and stuff. But yeah, if we kind of actually planned it out properly, we would have like a whole design and a whole set of working drawings, and probably even a 3D model before, and the 3D model would have helped us to actually plan the parts we needed and stuff like that. But even though the planning was small and it was kind of confusing, we kind of build everything and thought it out in our head. What more I would like to see, probably we could probably like take the same design and probably put more work on it. Maybe we were thinking about putting an engine in it, you know, in the back or something, or probably have it solar powered. Yeah, so I would like to see more from the box cart because it's really cool, it's innovative, you know, we take problems and make a lot of solutions. It could have like the design we chose, it could have go in many different ways, but we chose the fastest design and the most like simplest approach.
Since the design of the box cart is really minimalist, simplest, like very simple, it's a platform that could evolve. So we can go many different ways. It can either be solar powered, we could put electric motor to it. You know, you can really enhance on the different features of it and make it evolve into, you know, something else as well.
I think another thing we could do is we have steering for a reason. It's not just because you're going off track and you're going all over the place to keep you straight. We could actually implement a little steering area, few curves, not much, not too steep or anything like that, but at the end when you go down the ramp, you have where you could carry with momentum, a little steering area, or maybe we could, as you're saying, put solar powered or electric motors to power the cart so we could actually do steering and things, because that would have been a lot of fun steering around the track and so on.
And excitement associated with drag racing in Trinidad and Tobago. Box Lunch Killas on the left, 11 on the right. Very, very tight. Let's see what happens. 8.1 and 8.1 on the right lane. 8.1 wins.
I think maybe adding other categories, so like not only the winning times or the speed of the cart, but also like best looking cart, maybe other features or other aspects of the introduce other categories of it for the competition.
Overall, it was like a really fun experience. Yeah, because like a lot of us, we actually come together and came up with a plan, and who didn't know to do certain things, like we shared our skills and stuff, so it was good. And yeah, I think it was a good experience overall.
Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh.
Well, it engaged them a lot, right? I always have an issue with the curriculum as a teacher right now. It's a lot of theory and the students don't get the practical experience and exposure. And from the time I saw the competition, I just decided that we have to enter this. And I mean, they came out during the holidays to help with the build. I mean, a parent was here. She said, you know, my son, first time he actually anxious and ready to come out to school. I mean, it was during the holidays, but they came out. During school time, I mean, they're not engaged. The curriculum just does not engage them at all. It's more theory. So all the practical aspects of it kind of was what we looked at. One of the things, because I'm involved in a lot of different technologies, like from 3D printing to robotics and stuff, I try to expose them to the real world, you know? I expose them to stuff that I do for my business. So even with the box cart and the builds, all that give them the experience. I mean, to be honest, it was laughable to watch them actually try to cut a piece of iron. They didn't even know how to use a hacksaw blade. And even to measure, can't even measure properly. So the real world experience was key to this entire experience.
Nice! Samuel keeps his head down. Quinn looking to see what's happening. Samuel, tight, on the right hand. Samuel in an 8.3 and Quinn in an 8.9.
More challenges in terms of another straight horse to run. I would suggest probably having preliminaries You know, because I mean, showing up on the first day there, it was kind of like, okay, we now seeing what needs to be done. There was a ramp, the course, those kind of things. So maybe preliminary rounds to get people more familiar with what to expect from the course, right?
Presentation ready, CIC! Presentation ready, catch up on CIC! On the right lane, on an 8.2, 9.2. On the left lane. Alright, 1 win for CIC, says 1-0. Just at the edge. CIC takes this one, 8.384. CIC comes in third overall in the Box Intercol 2024.
Teaching them, they have SBAs to do, trying to build that, it's kind of difficult. And also, we literally did most of our builds within the 2 weeks of the Christmas vacation. And also, it was challenging that way.
I just saying this would have been so much easier if you were allowed to go on Amazon or any place and just buy a go-kart.